Welcome to Toastmasters 101, Impromptu Speaking, Table Topics, and Speech Evaluations. My name is Mike Grady. I've been a Toastmaster for over 20 years, and I have earned the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. In this video, I'm going to share some of the lessons I've learned to help you handle impromptu speaking opportunities at Toastmasters meetings. Let's get started. Mark Twain, famous for his off-the-cuff remarks, said a good impromptu speech takes 2 or 3 weeks to prepare. As a Toastmaster, you should always be prepared to speak. Then, impromptu does not mean totally unprepared. How can you prepare for impromptu speaking? As the football saying goes, the best defense is a strong offense. 3 ways you can strengthen your offense for impromptu speaking are: first, you can develop a reference database. Second, you can anticipate. And third, you can have a strategy to respond. First, I will explain how to do this for table topics. Then I will explain how to do this for speech evaluations. In order to prepare for table topics, start by adding deposits to your memory bank. The original stars of dinner conversation, also known as table topics, in Greek society were called dipnosophis, which means meal wise person. How did they become a meal wise person? They would become experts in a variety of topics by studying the written work of the best thinkers of their time. Then they would entertain banquet guests by sharing what they learned. If you want to be interesting, you need to be interested. The more you know about current events, politics, sports, entertainment, arts, and science, the more you'll have to share with others. There are 2 good ways to learn: reading and active listening. Read all you can. Even 20 minutes a day will make a difference. And when you read something interesting in a newspaper, book, or magazine, do a tellback. That is, stop, think about what you read, and say it in your own words. Tell your spouse, dog, or houseplant, "You won't believe what I just read." By reading, reflecting, and restating it in your own words, you will commit it to your memory. I would like you to see how well this works. Here is something I found interesting in Forbes magazine. Please take a few minutes to read it. Then think about it and say it in your own words. Tell your spouse, dog, or houseplant about the rhino principle. Pause the video and give it a try now. Well, I hope you see how that can help commit something to memory. I bet you'll find an opportunity to share the rhino principle in a future conversation. The second best way to learn is to be an active listener. Don't let news or current events just go in one ear and out the other. Think about how you feel about what you heard. I recommend that you take a stand and keep an open mind. Then, when you share your opinion, You'll hear opposing viewpoints and additional information, and you will continue to learn and grow. Get interested, and you will be more interesting. By reading, reflecting, and doing tellbacks, and by being an active listener, you'll build a library of memories that you can reference in your impromptu remarks. The next way to improve your performance in table topics is to anticipate impromptu topics. Before Mr. Twain attended an event, he anticipated possible questions and prepared responses. You should do the same before you attend a meeting at Toastmasters, work, or your community organization. For example, before your Toastmasters meeting, it may be helpful to scan the headlines, think about recent events, or consider the time of year and any holidays. Go through a checklist. Ask yourself, what's the buzz in current events, sports, politics, entertainment, arts, and science? Then, mentally prepare to respond to those topics. You might also reflect on recent or past experiences, thinking about books that you've recently read, programs you have watched or attended, and activities you've participated in will bring a variety of useful thoughts to mind. If you anticipate the right question, you are going to look like a genius. And even if you are not asked what you anticipated, your mind will be warmed up with a variety of thoughts, and you'll be ready to respond to other topics. The third way to improve your performance in table topics is to develop a strategy to respond. 3 possible strategies are listing pros and cons, discussing the past, present, and future, and broadening the topic. So, if you are asked about a serious issue, you might respond by stating that you see both pros and cons. Then, as you list them, you might realize which side is more persuasive and make that your conclusion. If you're asked about a general topic, like music or television, you might explore the past, present, and future. For example, you might say, I remember when we only had 4 television channels, and all the programs were in black and white. Today, I have hundreds of channels, and most are in high definition. I imagine the future will offer unlimited channels broadcast in 3D. Finally, if you're asked a specific question and it's unfamiliar, you might broaden the subject. For example, if someone asked you about a pending proposition in an upcoming election and you were not familiar with it, you might respond by stating that it's a difficult issue to decide, but you feel strongly about the importance of exercising your right to vote. Then you could discuss reasons for voting. Those are just 3 possible strategies for responding to impromptu questions. But based on the pattern, you can see that there are many more. Start to consider the many ways you can respond to a question. You can contrast before and after, or you might state the problem and discuss possible solutions. All of these strategies will provide you with more to talk about and help you expand your responses from 30 seconds to the 2 minutes you're allowed. Now, you have prepared, anticipated, and have strategies to respond. And ready or not, it's time. Remember, a table topic is a speech, so ideally, you want an opening, body, and conclusion. Keep that in mind as your goal. Opening by repeating the question works as a hook and gives you more time to think. In fact, don't be afraid to think silently before you begin speaking. People will appreciate your thoughtfulness. Open with a smile and enthusiasm, like you're thrilled, even if you don't have a clue of what you are about to say. Energy and enthusiasm will make all the difference in how your response is received. Next, state your answer as best you can. Then, summarize what you've said and try to end with a solid conclusion. If you want to improve your responses to impromptu questions, add deposits to your memory bank by reading and active listening. Anticipate questions you might be asked and prepare possible responses, and have a strategy to respond. These 3 steps should improve your performance in table topics. Then you're ready for a bigger impromptu speaking challenge. The most challenging impromptu speech we give in Toastmasters is the speech evaluation. You hear a speech for the first time and need to deliver a 2 to 3 minute meaningful speech of constructive feedback just a few minutes later. The only way to accomplish this is to be well prepared. This is especially true when you consider that none of us are experts. We're just trying to learn how to be an effective speaker too. In my opinion, most of our growth in Toastmasters comes from practice and continuing to work on the speech projects. The feedback we receive is helpful, but we grow most by getting back up and working at it. So I believe the main purpose of an evaluation is to encourage and challenge the speaker. We encourage them to get back up by telling them what they are doing well. We challenge them to improve the next time they speak by suggesting how they can be better. How should you prepare? The same way you prepared for table topics. First, build a reference database so you'll have something to say. Then, anticipate the speech. And finally, have a strategy to respond. The first step is to create your reference database. In order to evaluate what a speaker does well, what they might improve, and how they can improve that, you need to know the elements of a good speech and how to prepare and deliver it. Where can you find that information? Your Competent Communication Manual. That manual has been reviewed and improved for over 80 years and includes everything you need to know to be a great speaker and, in turn, an effective evaluator, especially the first 6 basic skill building projects. The speech projects are cumulative. As you complete each speech project, you should include the lessons you learned in the previous projects and add the skill you are learning in your current speech project. Something else you should do is create a list of the key lessons of each project and the recommended methods to accomplish them. This is another version of the tellback we discussed earlier. It will help you remember your lessons. This will make you a better speaker and prepare you to be an effective evaluator. How do I know? I've done it. A few years after I joined Toastmasters, I competed in the speech evaluation contest. In a speech evaluation contest, a target speaker delivers a standard speech project. After the speaker concludes, the evaluation contestants have 5 minutes to prepare written notes. Then their notes are collected and they are escorted from the room. One by one, they are called back to the room. Their notes are returned and they deliver their evaluation. The judges then vote for the best evaluator. I'm a very slow and messy writer and was at a real disadvantage. In order to complete my notes faster, I created a one-page list of skills. This list included content and delivery skills, such as topic selection, organization, introduction, eye contact, and gestures. I also included adjectives to describe those skills. For example, was the organization easy or difficult to follow? Were the gestures bold or timid? Then I could just circle those items I plan to discuss and focus on writing examples. I use that checklist or reference database every time I'm an evaluator, and it is very helpful. But I prepared that checklist off the top of my head, and I'm not an expert. So I reread the first 6 projects of the speech manual and tried to identify specific elements of a quality speech. Then I wrote down each speech element I found under content or delivery. Opposite each item, I wrote down how the manual recommended you accomplish the skill. So, for example, the communication manual said a speech should be well organized, and to accomplish this, you should start with an outline. So under content, I wrote organization, and across from it, under how to improve, I wrote start with an outline. Now you would probably benefit more from doing this yourself, but I know that many people are very busy today, so you won't be able to do it. So if you contact me, I will send you a copy of mine. Then you can add to it if you like. Then you can make copies and use it when you are an evaluator. Just mark an S by anything you would like to mention as a strength, and O by anything you would like to mention as an opportunity for improvement. Then circle or underline any how to improve items you'd like to recommend. As you can see, you'll have a reference database of general speaking skills to use when you evaluate any speech. But you are never just evaluating any speech. So the next step is to anticipate. Your job as an evaluator is to provide constructive feedback on a specific speech project. So you need to consider what objectives the speaker is trying to achieve and their speaking experience. This will require a little homework before the meeting. Start by reading the speech project and evaluation questions. Be sure to note the objectives and lessons of the speech project. This is especially important for advanced manual projects that teach specific skills. Then call or meet with the speaker and determine if they have any concerns they would like your feedback on. Finally, consider what speech projects the speaker has completed and what skills they've already learned. You might review your speech checklist and highlight the skills the speaker should demonstrate or cross out the skills they will learn in later projects. Then you can focus on the appropriate skill level given the speaker's experience. For example, if someone is completing their second speech, you wouldn't want to excessively comment about vocal variety or gestures. They will learn these skills in future projects. As their experience increases, you may increase the skills you focus on in the evaluation. Well, you have prepared and anticipated. Now you need a strategy to respond. The strategy I recommend is analyze, then organize. That is, first analyze the speech, then organize your observations into speech format. Before the speech, lay out the speech manual evaluation page, a copy of your reference database, and a blank piece of paper for notes. Then, clear your mind and get ready to really listen and observe. You can mark your notes during the speech, but only make short notations so you can continue to listen and observe. You can finish your notes when the speaker concludes. Then all you need to do is organize your analysis into speech format. Look at your notes and see if a few themes like preparation, organization, or vocal variety stand out. Then, start with the end in mind. Prepare a speech outline in advance and fill in the blanks. The formula for an evaluation is the same as any speech. First, catch the audience's attention. You might start with something like, "I'm sold. How inspiring." Or, "I loved your speech and the passion of your delivery." Then, introduce your message and 3 main points. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to share what I felt were the strengths of the speech, some opportunities for improvement, and to provide specific actions to address those opportunities. In the first part of the body, state the strengths and give examples. Then, give the opportunities for improvement and examples. Then recommend actions to address those opportunities and examples. Conclude by summarizing what you've said. I enjoyed your speech. If you continue to use your strengths of X and focus on improving Y by doing Z, your next speech will blank. Fill in the blank with something from the speech. For example, if the speech was about a vacation, you might end by saying, "Your next speech will be a memorable journey for your audience." Let me conclude with a review. As a Toastmaster, you should always be prepared to speak. Then, impromptu speaking, like table topics and speech evaluation, will be much easier. Prepare, anticipate, and have a strategy to respond. Then prepare to impress and succeed. We say there are usually 3 speeches in Toastmasters: the speech you prepare, the speech you actually deliver, and the masterpiece in the car ride on the way home. This is especially true when it comes to table topics and evaluations. We always know exactly what we should have said when we return to our seat. Through preparation and practice, though, we are able to learn how to say exactly what we wanted to say every time. Start preparing your strong offense for impromptu speaking, and like Mark Twain, you'll soon be famous for your off-the-cuff remarks. If you have any questions, would like to offer feedback on this video, or would like to receive notes and resources for this presentation, please contact me.